Welcome to a new episode of NFT Price Floor Podcast. Fasten your headphones and enjoy the ride.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Super pumped to have all of you guys over here. First of all, thank you so much to the Pudgy community for showing up, answering the call. We've been trying to get you guys in spaces for such a long time because we're huge fans over here at NFT Price Floor. I see that we have some, current listeners as well. I see that Peter is here. Thank you so much for joining us, man. Really appreciate it. Can't wait to talk to you guys. Loki the Bird, huge fan. You know me. Been a huge fan of you, content creator since the very beginning. Been loving your everything that you make, everything that you post. Really like it. Nat as well, and Pudgy Amateur as well. I've recently been following you with the NFT Pressler account. So super pumped to have you guys here. Nat, thank you so much for reposting our post on LinkedIn as well. Thank you so much for that and for all that support. So let's go ahead and get started. Just want to do a quick sound check if everybody can hear everybody. And just a quick intro, my co-host Modern is also over here. So I'm going to go ahead and jump to Modern first in case I get rugged, and you guys can keep the conversation going in case something goes wrong, because Modern saved me the other day. What's up, Modern? How's it going? Happy morning. Happy Friday. Once again, super pumped to be here. How's it going on your side?
Yeah, hey man, I will say, great intro as usual, dude. Happy to be here. I will say though, I am a huge fan of that Pudgy song, and I definitely prefer that one over the one you were playing. But I digress. I hope everyone in the audience is having a great Friday morning so far. I know I am. What else? I'm feeling good about today's episode, man. We got some great speakers here, and I look forward to today's discussion with our friends over at Pudgy Penguins. So bullish on that, and look forward to a good convo.
Love that. Let's go ahead and go to Peter. Hey, Peter, how's it going? Thank you so much for joining us.
What's going on? How's my audio? Is it good?
Yeah, it's perfect. We can hear you.
Awesome. Great to be here. Thank you for having me on. And it's an early one, man. You guys scheduled them early. So I'm here, man. I'm awake. I'm here. I'm locked in.
Yeah. It's funny because I actually wanted to do it an hour later. And then when you told me, this time I was like, wow, it's going to be an early for everybody in the space. But, Pudgies are Pudgies, man. Community is definitely here. Let's go to Loki. How's it going? Thank you so much for saving us with that song at the very beginning.
Yo, hey, what's up? So I'm in Asia, so it's kind of late for me. I mean, it's 9 p.m. Yeah, I'm curious to hear from Peter. I'm Peter number one fanboy. He doesn't know me, but yeah, I love everything he does, basically, from the time you wake up to when you go to sleep. But yeah, I'm
That's
curious to
crazy.
hear. I'm curious to hear what it's gonna say, like all the future stuff about Pudgy, which I'm not aware.
Love that. Let's go ahead to Nat. What's up, Nat? How's it going on your side?
Hey, GM, it's 9 p.m. here. So when I see I have the same space with Peter, I was like, someone have to gonna wake up early today. We're opposite side of the world. But, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me. And, it's, the good Greg, the legends up here. I'm so honored to be here. Thank you, man.
And one more. We got Pudgy Amateur. What's up, Pudgy Amateur? How's it going?
Good. Hey guys. Thanks for having me here. It's great to be on the spaces with Peter, Loki, and Nat. How you guys doing?
How's it on your side, Pudgy Amateur? Did you have to wake up early as well?
I'm usually awake by this time, but today's a little bit earlier. I have a two-year-old son, so I'm usually awake by this time. But it's just I woke up a little bit earlier just to prepare, make sure I'm awake for the spaces.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I've already had 2 cups of coffee. That's why you can hear me loud. At least I hope that you can hear me loud and clear. So yeah, now that we got all the intros done, let's go ahead and get started with a few questions. I don't want to get too complicated. Not gonna lie, if there's any alpha that you cannot share, don't worry about it. We're super, relaxed over here, not trying to make it into a 3-hour space, bringing 2-minute discussions for Peter over here. But I'm just curious, Peter, like I have to start with this one, some people have been DMing us as well. If we could ask you a few more questions about how all of this is going, so many changes in the Pudgy's ecosystem, new branding for Igloo Inc., the frame purchase, the abstract chain, Pudgy's flipping, Bored Apes. I'm sorry if you got any apes down there, but it's the facts. We've been seeing it in our platform for such a long time. It's been going up nonstop. So I was wondering if we could start with talking about Igloo Inc. and how that rebranding went, and what was the main idea behind that. And just before letting it go to you, what a cool website. That is honestly the coolest website I have ever seen in my Web3 experience. If you guys haven't checked it out, please go ahead and do that, because that whole thing is just trippy. It's cool. Like I didn't even feel like leaving it. So go ahead, Peter.
Well, thank you for the kind words. My background was in and still is in web design and development. I basically, when the team and I came up with Igloo Inc., I basically wanted to come up with something that felt like, it was mysterious. It had its own positioning, compared to Pudgy Penguins. Like it felt like it could be a lot more and it could hold a lot more. And the website itself, like I wanted to come out with something to show that the Pudgy team, though we're not known for our digital products and experiences because of, the resources we had early on, I didn't want Igloo Inc. to be an excuse, because now we do have resources. We are in a better position. And so instead of just showing an excuse, I was like, all right, let me actually take and use this opportunity, especially with the audience that we will have, to basically go and do something. And so it wasn't just challenging the traditional expectations of what a website would be, but we wanted to make something that was award worthy. We already hold Site of the Month with one of the award platforms. We're in current submission with a couple more. So those are just like some small little accolades that me as like a design junkie care about. Huge shout out to the development team, Vicente Galundo, for basically helping with the entire development and execution of that. The idea behind Igloo Inc. was it was to really help us with the broader vision of where our team can take the entire crypto space as a whole. When you look at NFTs, we've already done as much as we possibly could, right? Like we've made a lot of promises since our acquisition. We've delivered on a lot of those promises. And there's always going to be questions of what else? What else are you guys going to do? What else are you going to do for me? And so, NFTs is just one small little part of the entire Web3 ecosystem. And so the team wanted to really kind of push for something that can help at a very infrastructure related level, and bring more exposure to the entire space of crypto. And so Pudgy Penguins already does that really well with our distribution and retail, the physical to digital integrations that we have within all of our toys. But the idea was like, what more, right? And a lot of the tools that we were looking to explore to help us with scaling out some of our ideas, coming up with new products, they can't be all done by Pudgy Penguins. Like there is no fit. You can't bring on new teams to go work for Pudgy Penguins and do all these things at Pudgy Penguins. You need something greater with a greater vision and a greater purpose. And so we always use Pudgy Penguins as a poster boy, as that like center of gravity to actually go out there and say, hey, we've already done it ourselves. Now we need the help of many other people to help us create more products on chain, bring more people to the Web3 ecosystem. And we can't do that as just Pudgy Penguins. So we're still very much all things Pudgy Penguins. My job is to just make sure that we're shaping up the future of Pudgy Penguins all the way, and also contributing to Abstract and Igloo's infrastructure level. And so that's kind of the, what birthed the idea of bringing Igloo Inc. together. We swept Overpass IP under Igloo Inc. So now it makes sense to be a standalone product that, is adjacent to some of the beliefs that we have at Pudgy Penguins. which is, making the licensing experience of your NFTs a lot more easier. And we've proven that as well. And now we have Abstract, which is something we're actually really excited about doing, because all of the ideas about infrastructure related tools and experiences that we can bring to a consumer level, we now have the opportunity to do that, with amazing people from the Frame team. After meeting the Frame guys and spending weeks with them in the trenches on product development, I feel like we literally have the best team, with Saigar and Beans. These guys, their experience in the crypto space is second to none. Anytime I have a question, I use Saigar as like a dictionary. I'm like, Saigar, what does this mean? And he'll just give me the nicest elaborate explanation of anything. So it's really awesome to have these guys in our corner and kind of leading the charge on the Abstract side.
Yeah, I love that. You definitely, went ahead and answered a few of my questions, but thank you so much for like the whole, summary and everything that you were just saying. As I said, it's pretty amazing to see everything that you guys are doing. And I wonder what's the community point of view from all of this? I'm guessing all of you guys are like super hyped, but this is basically why we also brought you guys into the space. Would be cool to see what you guys think and how's it going on your side. So I'm going to go ahead and go with a Pudgy amateur. What are your thoughts on everything that's going on in the Pudgy ecosystem and how the team is delivering all of these amazing experiences?
You guys can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
cool. I think I've always been bullish on the Penguin ecosystem. I've been here since pretty much almost day one, except the mint. So I think what they're doing is great. I think not many people realize what Abstract Chain is. I mean, I don't either. But I think if from inside the igloo, if you think about now that we have our own chain and think of it as, it's a chain that will bring consumer, any sort of consumer products to the chain. Let's say, you have somebody build a SocialFi, you have any sort of app that can bring on chain. And the greatest thing is that penguins are there, right? So Penguin is a point in the ecosystem. And if you think it more broadly, eventually, if there is an airdrop, it's going to go to penguins. So it's an infinite money glitch, so to speak. But, that's just a broader sense. Yeah. So I'm very bullish on the whole Abstract Chain and especially, the igloo formation.
Love that. Yeah, absolutely. Loki and Nat, you guys are part of the Asian community. I absolutely had no idea that you guys were all the way over there. So I'd love to get your feedback as well. Like, how's it going on your side? Let's go ahead and start with Nat.
Hey, for me in Asia, I think one of the best thing of the Pudgy is the communities. So with or without the Abstract Chain, I think you guys connect with people so easy when you're Pudgy. Like for me, when I go to Malaysia, dude, or Hong Kong, Dijon Dan and all the people there, or Nick, shout out to Nick, the Pudgy in the listener. He's one of the Pudgy Asia team. Without the Abstract Chain or the tool that Pudgy is building, we already connected. And it's even easier if you have all the tools that you're going to add on and build on it for the consumer. So I think we are bullish on everything. I feel like people might not know if you don't hold a Pudgy. Like when you make connection through the Pudgy, either Pudgy Asia, Pudgy Europe and everything, it's so easy. It's so easy, and you can do a lot of things after that with the people with the real connection. And none of these, you don't need to take any of the Web3 at all. It's just human talking. But when the Igloo going to release the abstraction, I think that's going to be super fun. I think we have more tools, more things to do. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I'll send to you, Loki.
Hey, I'm here. Sorry, I'm biking. Almost crushed. Hey, thanks, Nat. You're my favorite Asian Pudgy, by the way. Probably you know. I just want to say publicly. And who the fucking I would the fucking know about Abstract? I don't know shit, but you guys ask to Peter. It's all in his mind, and all you have to do is to know Everything that Pudgy is touching, I mean, they
Look,
transform to
Loki, just do
gold.
Loki
So
thing. He's just fudding. That's just his job to do, right?
no, no, no. I'm not funny. Actually,
I'm joking.
actually, the opposite. Yeah, like this team is amazing. Like if you have doubts, just open YouTube and go to watch Building in Public. You will fall in love with Peter. You will fall in love with what the fuck these guys are doing every day. So yeah, it's a cook. We don't know what kind of cook. We know like consumer crypto is gonna be a thing. I mean, it's the right direction. So let them cook.
Sorry, I'm interrupting, but I think the Beauty in Public, the last episode is super fun. I think Peter is the main character over there. It's super fun. You guys need to go watch it.
Love that. No, yeah, feel free to jump in at anytime you want to share any kind of alpha or, anything else that you think we should get our eyes on. Going back to Peter then, and since you were already talking about Frame, you guys obviously acquired Frame to build Abstract, a consumer crypto chain. I did notice that you guys will leverage the ZK stack and EigenLayer as the data availability solution. I'm probably saying a bunch of words that I probably don't even comprehend on my own, but I still have to ask you because the team at NFT Price Floor was asking me, so Luca just seems to be betting on a future where the most important players have their own rollups, and this is something that I can understand because I've seen it. We've got Coinbase with Base. We've got WorldCoin with WorldChain. We've got Blur with Blast. So how do you see like Abstract playing in the Pudgy Penguins ecosystem? You did mention that you're going to bring in more projects over. How is that going to work? And how can this bet on having a consumer crypto chain benefit the Penguin holders? I'm wondering.
That's a great question. So from its core, I mean, everything that we're doing, eventually will come back to Pudgy Penguins. Pudgy Penguins and the community that we have now, we use, the community is here to help us amplify everything that we have going on. And that is one of the strongest levers that you can have in trying to spin something up like this. All these different rollups, fundamentally have the same infrastructure and the same tech, but it's about the positioning, in which, those, rollups kind of have. And so the positioning that we're focused on is to be that consumer crypto chain, and really just kind of basing it on a few pillars, which is distribution, right? Allowing and creating distribution rails for, developers and creators that are building on Abstract, to actually reap the benefits of having that product market fit and finding that early traction. I think a lot of developers, are kind of missing that opportunity to launch their app and have it seen by the right type of consumers right away, and quickly iterate and then push the updates to kind of retain those users. And so Pudgy Penguins, I mean, historically, we've been known for creating distribution rails with our retail distribution strategy, with our social strategy. And so I feel like we have a really good grasp on how to do this. And so if we can essentially create these tools that others can adopt, I think we're not just going to be doing good for ourselves, we're going to be doing good for others. And so long as we uphold our high integrity and our high standards, I think we could do that really well for others. Same goes with, creators, really empowering creators through, creating new, on-chain reward mechanisms, right? Like if you're a participant within one of these, DApp layers, right? Like there should be that two-way kind of relationship, where the participant who usually was the consumer or the user is now a participant, which basically means, in order to get my attention, I need to be rewarded, and the developer then kind of returns that. And it's just, you're creating this really healthy flywheel. And then the additional pillars are obviously abstracting the complexities of the blockchain. I think everything right now it's too complicated. Like you kind of opened up with these rollups and like, OP and EigenLayer. It's like, to me as a consumer who's just like watching TikTok, I don't really care. None of this matters to me. Like it is, I don't care which stack you're using or on which L1 you're building. Like none of this really matters to me. I think we're looking at this way too granular, and that's okay. I think for the time in which we are now, like this is okay. This is where we drive early adoption, and this is where we start building real serious tribes to help amplify all the consumer facing applications down the road. Right now it's okay, but I just don't think anybody else is thinking in that lens where it's like, we have to get out of this echo chamber that we in where like everybody cares about like the technical fundamental layer. And it's like, dude, none of that actually matters. Like everybody has great tech. Who's going to get to distribution a lot quicker than someone else? Who's going to create the most stickiest apps and distribute that to the mass consumers, right? Like how many people can we actually get on chain, right? And so this is why we're hyper focused on the consumer crypto revolution, because we've done it with Pudgy Penguins and we've now brought in a team who can really help us at the infrastructure level so we can strictly focus on the consumer interfacing layer. And that is essentially why we decided to contribute to Abstract. This is why the Frame acquisition was so pivotal to our success. Because without that, we're just in this like race of trying to come up with our own thing. It's like, why not just merge, right? Like, why not bring these talents together and see if we can create something truly bigger? So time will tell, but I'm just seeing at our mission strategy and just seeing how we go about executing some of the things that Luca's working on the BD side, with Saigar's, experience in standing up infrastructure, Beans from a product aspect and us from branding, and distribution. I think this team is a very serious team to be reckoned with.
No, absolutely. I love that, especially, when you were saying basically what everybody has been saying in the space. Nobody really cares which L1 you're building on. Nobody really cares, what your speech is going to be about, whatever that you're doing in this Web3 bubble that we're in, especially if it's about NFTs, right? Which is even smaller, that we've come to realize. I feel like a bunch of people have actually realized that already. And it's just amazing to hear that you guys are like finally addressing that problem that everybody has been wondering, because I feel like a bunch of projects join the space and we see it on multiple blockchains, multiple ecosystems. They join the space and they say, this is how we're going to onboard the next 1 billion users. And then, as usual, the typical, investors are going to jump in, flippers, collectors, whatever you want to call them. They're going to jump in, they buy the NFT, they sell the NFT, and then 3 months later, nothing is actually happening. Nothing is really being built. I can tell you this from the other L1 that we're on, like Modern and I, we see the same thing. And this is exactly the kind of discussion that we want to be having in this space, because the question is, what are we going to do to bring more people into this ecosystem that we're in, right? So I definitely can see how Pudgies are going to be ambassadors of this movement. I love the fact that you guys are going to be ambassadors. I can tell you that we even have a few Pudgy holders in our own ecosystem as well. Unfortunately, they couldn't join, but but I'm really happy that they get to share all the alpha and everything that you guys are doing, because at the end of the day, that's the question that everybody should be wondering. And I feel like no longer just asking the question. We've been asking this question for 2 years already. It's more like, what can we do to come together, help each other, and push this movement forward? I'm going to go ahead and go to Modern. I don't know if Modern, you got any questions or any specific comments that you'd like to share as well. As you know, we got Grilled Onion, who's a Pudgy holder, and we also got Ken, who's a Lil Pudgy holder. Just giving you that info. But what's up? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I agree 100% with you as well as Peter. We do have a lot of Pudgies, on our ecosystem, so I will say they are everywhere. But to add on to what Peter was saying, I think having good tech, that's great. But really emphasizing kind of the onboarding process and kind of keying in on that branding and distribution is really important, just for sustainability and the longevity of the brand. And I kind of just wanted to add on that, that stuff can't really be overlooked. Like that is kind of extremely important if you want to build yourself up in this ecosystem of, just Web3 as an entirety. I do have a quick question though. What advice would you give to projects who are looking to follow a similar path, but find themselves having a difficult time with that, the building of the branding, right? And distribution? Like, what advice would you give to those smaller projects who are looking to follow suit in a similar direction as the Pudgy Penguins?
Yeah. So if this is something that, you're trying to build some sort of SocialFi or some sort of DeFi application, I think what Abstract is going to do is going to answer a lot of those questions, right? Of like what to do, right? How to position yourself. What is a good market strategy look like? Effectively, like we will essentially create a checklist that everybody can use to put themselves in a really good position for scalability. Because, before you find real traction and really solid product market fit, your brand or your product has to be fundamentally in a really good place. And so sometimes it's really hard to find that 0 to 1. And so we will provide all the tools necessary to get you from 0 to 1, right? Everything from the branding, the positioning, like the hows, right? Like how can I do this in a really simplified manner? And once you're ready, once you've kind of crossed that threshold and you look to yourself and say, hey, I've checked everything off this list. The product is at a really good MVP. Like now I need distribution. Typically anybody who launches an app, unless you're like a YC alumni that like actually tells you how to actually go about garnering attention and like getting people excited about something that you're going to drop eventually. What Abstract is going to do is it's going to allow you to get that instant traction and instant eyeballs in the tens of thousands. And that is essentially the core goal here. The early days of Abstract will be about building the largest on-chain economy. The second is to build and invite the most amount of builders and creators to start building on Abstract, because we've already, by that point, would have proven fundamentally that we have the most amount of eyeballs, we have the most amount of users. And so you can confidently launch a really, really good product. That one thing that will set us apart are the standards in which we will enforce, because we understand what consumers want. We understand the standards in which they'd like to kind of follow. And so when you follow that checklist, if everything is good to go, your ability to launch something on Abstract is going to be very, very clear. And you proving a really healthy MVP is going to be done in a really, really streamlined way, where you're going to have so much time to iterate because you're going to have so much user feedback. You're already going to know what to fix and how to fix it, and just take it from there. And so by that point, it's about maintaining the highest level of retention, right? Like it's like how fast can you iterate and how fast can you get the next version out to make sure you kind of upkeep the usability for those consumers. Because once you have them hooked, you have to be able to keep them there and engaged, right? And you're only going to have them engaged for so long before they get bored and move on to something else, right? And so we will try to do that as best as we can. We will be learning along the way as well, right? Like what we may think works today may not necessarily work tomorrow. So as we learn, it's going to be our responsibility to share those learnings across our entire app level economy.
Love that. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. You wanted to say something? Oh, yeah. Love that. Yeah, Peter. Thank you so much for, sharing all that alpha. I don't know if you were going to say something else. I saw you unmuted yourself. Let's go to Pudgy Amateur. I wonder what your thoughts are with regards to this. Loki, he's got a question. I wonder if he's going to start fudding. Since Nat mentioned that, hopefully not. No, of course not. What's up, Pudgy Amateur? I want to go to you first. Wonder if you got any comments, and then let's go ahead and move over to Loki.
Not really sort of comment, but I heard what Mono was saying, and I think it's, trying to build the community up. So I think one of the hardest thing everyone wants to be is Pudgy Penguin, but nobody wants to actually do the work of Pudgy Penguins. You want all the high prices, but you're not willing to take the pain, I think, which is the biggest problem in the space is that, so basically the Pudgy Penguin community, has been flooded to death, and, we've pretty much stuck together in the very early days. Like, there's been so many community members, the huddle members, and your 500,000 penguins that has been there since 1,000 plus days ago, right? So you want to find those hard believers, convictions, diamond hands, whatever you want to call it, stick together, right? Because no matter what, if you like the project, if you like the art, if you like the future, you're just going to stick together no matter what. I mean, yeah, people might think you're crazy, at the time, but, look where we're at now, 2 years later. I mean, we were in the winter storm. We were all over the place. So, just, stick to the community members that have been active, stick to the one that, are, believe in the future and, contributing to it, not just believe in it, but also contributing to it. I think, do the work and you'll get the reward.
Love that. Yeah. Appreciate it. Loki, what's up? How's it going on your side?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I have a question for Peter. So, we talk about L2. Pudgy team is well aware, like L2, they have branding issue. They build product by dev for devs. Right now, we are seeing more product for gamblers, which is okay. We like Solana is onboarding people, so I mean it's not the optimal thing, but it's still something. So my question is, how Abstract is going to incentivize builder going to build for a new audience? And of course, like you can provide awareness, you can provide exposure. I just wonder, like we've seen like recently with Blast, how they were going to incentivize builders to stay there. It worked a little bit. Right now, it's a bit confusing. Just want to understand this.
Yeah, so I won't get in too much because I do want to have the opportunity to kind of share that through our main channels here as we kind of gear up for a few major announcements. But based on the conversations that I've been having, I think it fundamentally does come down to creating really, really powerful distribution rails, right? So I think that's what it ultimately comes down to. If I'm building any application, the only thing that really matters to me are how many users do I have. And if I can actually go out there and tell my investors, my followers that I actually have real users using this on a daily basis, that's the only story that matters, right? So if you can actually pull this off as opposed to say this and preach this on the timeline, if developers are actively seeing live interactions on a daily basis or very healthy MAUs, however you want to quantify your transaction metrics, right? If builders actually see this, the incentives are all there, right? I think that's the very first incentive at its core. I think the beauty about building something on chain are those kind of interesting reward mechanisms that are on chain, right? Like now, what's the next thing? Like now, how do I convince the first adopters of my application to actually give a shit and go out there and tell the next 5 of their friends, right? And those 5 friends tell the next 5 friends, right? And that is about creating a very, how can I put it? In a traditional world, this is a referral system, right? So how do you create very sticky and strong referral incentives? It's going to be really interesting how we do this on chain, because a lot of the behaviors of any application out there, always points back to like traditional Web 2 techniques, right? Building in Web 3 is nothing out of the ordinary. I think it's just strictly about positioning. And so if you can get past the first wave of like bringing on users, the next one is like, all right, I have this really nice pocket of users, this tribe that I have, right? That I listen to, that I aggregate feedback from and iterate accordingly. The next thing that people will instinctively ask for, especially in the Web3 space, is what rewards are you going to distribute to us to actually give a shit and stay using this? Because the next 5, similar dApps are being launched. So why am I going to stay here? And I think those are very interesting conversations that we're going to have down the road. It's a little bit too early for us to say that because we want to tackle one problem at a time. The distribution problem is a bigger problem than anything else, than rewards, than retention mechanisms, because we have a problem of getting people at the top of the funnel. That is the fundamental issue with the entire crypto space. The top of the funnel is so damn complicated and so convoluted that it's impossible to get anybody here. So before we talk about any retention mechanisms, right, which inevitably has to follow because of the strong Web3 audience, we need to fix that distribution level at the top of the funnel. And I think once we figure that out, I think all the developers are actually going to be super excited because it's not there a lot of the users that maybe some of these dApps are reporting, right? Like MAUs, DAUs, whatever. Like how much of that is actually real? Like how much of that is farmed and how much of that is actually real? Like when you know something is real, someone else is talking about it. And like I've yet to see anybody talking about any dApp that's built on any L2 or any L1, however you want to categorize. Again, at that level, it doesn't really matter. That actually made it onto my timeline on TikTok, on Instagram. Like nothing has really broken through. At least that's landed for me. And that's the problem that we want to solve, right? How many of your friends are going to start using something just like how you started, your friends may have started natively using Pudgy stickers. They don't know about the NFT. There's nothing to do with them, right? They don't care about the floor price. All they were is just using it because it's a cute penguin. And so following that same thesis, right, for abstract is going to be a very interesting journey.
Hey, thank you, Peter. So let's say I'm a builder. I want to start building on abstract. What should I do? Should I build for the normies or build for the crypto native or something in the middle?
That's a really good question. It's about what you're building, right? If you're building some DeFi dApp, then who's going to use it, right? Like who is the native consumer? Clearly not the everyday Joe, right? But if you're talking about building something within the gaming realm, right? Like your best bet or like something SocialFi related is like, how can you not make it sound so crypto native and just make it seem like this new really fun app or a game? And then slowly, once you've kind of got that early level traction, then convert all those users who are normie users, which we call them, right? And convert them to all Web3 related users. That part right there is such a valuable, kind of inflection point. If you can convert those normie users natively on your dApp to Web3 users, right? At the flip of a switch. That gives you all the leverage to go out there and raise the necessary capital for scale, or even come back to abstract and take advantage of some of the builder incentive programs that we're going to be creating. So I'll leave it at that, but just know that early on, once we do start making announcements and start sharing more information of abstract, I promise you it's going to be abundantly clear on how to go about submitting your ideas, how to go about executing your ideas. It will be the simplest onboarding journey that is going to set a expectation on what your onboarding journey looks like when you're building your dApp.
Let's go ahead and go to Nat. What's up, Nat?
Yeah, I just want to add a few perspectives that I think people might not look at it. Pudgy Builder is everywhere. Y'all see in the layer 0, y'all see in Mitosit group, we have Pudgy Asia who built a dimension for, staking the dApps. We have builder everywhere. It's like Nonsense, ZK Sing or whatever. And I think it's even more, I don't know shit about the abstract. I don't know how to do. I know it's going to be cool because Pudgy built it. But think about it. One day the Pudgy has own freaking chains. And then we have the builder everywhere that who already, we already trust the incentive that we got from all the airdrops. Right. And that's not even from Pudgy Penguins. That's from somebody else. That's from all the people who trust that, hey, Pudgy is the builder. Let's give them some tokens and they're going to build something. And we build some things, right? I look at the stat. 40% of the Pudgy didn't dump. 60% dump, that's okay. I think that's a good rate anyway. But one day we could have their own chains. So I maybe it's just so positive, but I think now it's going to be the time that if they want to build something, this is the chain they want to build. And I think we're going to trust the Pudgy. We're going to see more builders. We're going to see not just Pudgy, but all Pudgy from other chains going to come. And something fun going to happen because Luca and Peter and the team just make cool stuff all the time. And for the incentive, I don't think we're just going to look that for the first thing. But I think we pretty trust the team that we get the whatever the right amount that we deserve for the builder and push the Pudgy and the whole Web3 forward. And that's from me, buddy.
Let me jump in here, and I'll add what Nat is saying. We call these the PayPal mafia, equivalent to PayPal, right? Mafia.
Yes. I shout out to DeFi Sushi for making that. She's been amazing, and it's getting bigger. I mean, my Pudgy is getting smaller every time she adds something in that.
Yeah, yeah. PayPal mafia. There really isn't uh, a picture or a thing that can incorporate every PayPal mafia, because some want to build anon, some really don't want that public space. But we're everywhere, in every country, in every part of the world. And then not only what Nat's saying is that, we not only trust the leadership, the Igloo community, but we also trust each other, the penguins, the people who have been in since day one, your 1,000, 2,000 holders. We trust each other. We know we're aligned with the values of each other and what we're hoping to strive. That's what will make things work. So that strengthens the bond. So.
Awesome. I don't know if there was anything else you guys want to add. Just wanted to mention real quick, as I was saying on our platform, the Igloo company has been going up in the brand ranking by market cap. You guys are currently number 3, giving, everything that you guys have built. You can go ahead and check that on NFT price or price ranking. Pudgies are currently number 2. It's been an amazing ride. I'm sure for you guys, it's been even more exciting, Peter. So I guess my question to you then, when it comes to this, is how did you guys, deal with the FUD at the beginning of times, especially with the Luca takeover? I'm wondering if there was any FUD, because maybe I wasn't there, since then. I was definitely paying attention, and I love the whole building in public. How do you guys deal with the FUD when it comes to that? And that's one question that I have. And another question that is definitely something that I'm super curious about is, since you're talking about IRL things and Pudgies are the experts at, creating these distribution channels for your products and all that. What is the people's reaction, or what is the normies' reaction when they find out, and if they do, that the Pudgy Penguins is actually an NFT project? Do you guys ever tell them that it's an NFT project? And if you do, I'm just wondering, what's their reaction? Do they jump into the Discord and do they talk to you and are they like, hey guys, I didn't know there was an NFT. Oh shit, I'm out. Or is it something like, whoa, this is an amazing community and now I want to be a part of it even more,
Yeah. Good questions. So when we took over Pudgy, lots of fun. Lots of fun internally, and lots of fun externally. However, that FUD internally was quickly turned around into ultra alignment. Luca, in his early days, basically spent days on Igloo Spaces and just talking to community members, understanding what are the needs of the community, right? What can we be doing better? How do we reposition this brand and bring value back to people who have been so heavily invested since day one? That was one of the first things that we have to do, was really try to figure out the whys, right? Why and the what. What can we do? The second thing that was done was obviously start creating some little promises, right? Of all right, we heard you and these are the things that we're going to do, and slowly start executing on it. Of course, there was timeline FUD, but the more and more we've got people to galvanize behind our mission and galvanize behind the ideas that were all kind of created by the community team internally. All we did, the Pudgy core team, is just be the executors, right? The community really helped pave the way. The community really helped really galvanize and bring just light every single thing that we did up on the timeline, and go out there and champion the vision as loud as possible. And I think that's really what made the community super excited. And so we just did that every single day, repetition, day after day, just pounding the pavement, keeping our heads down, just consistently trying to show rather than just talk about it. And I think once the internal community and some early believers on CT started to take notice, I think slowly but surely we started changing the hearts and minds of many people, effectively compounding to where we are today. So very, very much a lot of FUD early days. Not only on, we still get a FUD, right? Any decision we make is always going to get second guessed, whether it's internally, externally, but it's important for us to kind of weigh everything out, weigh the pros and cons, and inevitably make that decision and stick to that decision no matter what. And so I think this is why the Pudgy community is so strong, because everybody feels so invested into this. We factor everybody's opinions, and we inevitably just kind of greenlight anything that we have strong beliefs in, and we just execute. In terms of the NFT side of things, and I have to be super honest. So when we go hire, and I do, majority of the hiring, Pudgy Penguins, and it's crazy because like on the creative side, so when I've hired creatives and writers, like when we're not talking about the users that are on Instagram, but as like maybe the last 5 months, I've gotten the most disheartening emails where like we would go and recruit some people, and we're talking animators, storyboarders, writers, and they would be like, yeah, I'm down. Like they applied to the job. I don't even know how they applied without doing due diligence, but they applied to the job. And then after a few emails, they're like, oh, wait, you guys are an NFT project. I don't support projects. I'd like to, retract my resume. And I'm just seeing that. I'm like, no, like this is how this is how negatively people think of the NFT space. And it's because of so much of that negative connotation kind of surrounds the crypto space and all the things that happen within this NFT echo chamber. That is the only news that makes it out. None of the good that actually happens in the space makes it out to the public. It's only the bad, right? And because we're in this like Ponzi ecosystem, right? Like only the bad, because the people who got rugged, the people who inevitably got hurt are the people that are out there, voicing some of their pain points. And like the people who have never heard of NFTs or maybe have heard something familiar with NFTs, every single person that we've historically brought up the fact that Pudgy Penguins is an NFT project always kind of like look to the side. So we stopped saying that Pudgy Penguins is an NFT project because we really are not. Like, I don't believe that we are. In the beginning, it very much was very clear, but once I fell in love with the Pudgy Penguin itself, like I adopted everything it was to be, in the Pudgy Penguins community. I fell in love with the characters. Like now most of my time I just spend on like, how do we, any product that we create, how does it best represent the Pudgy Penguin? So we don't necessarily tell anybody NFTs. Actually, like I'm trying to figure out how we like remove that messaging from anywhere, right? I think the NFT side is we just try to change that language to digital collectibles and kind of reframe that positioning to be like, these are digital collectibles, right? Like the Paxton Polly, Pudgy Peaches, like they are the derivatives of the original collection, right? And so when you tell that story, it makes a lot more sense and it's a lot more inviting rather than like, these are NFTs, they're trading at X amount of dollars. People are like scratching their head, like, what, why? This makes no sense to me. Like you guys have no show. You guys have no real world exposure. Why is there value here? And so it was always very much like a reverse way of building this. And man, if I told you all the problems I have to deal with, because like, there are traditional standards in building, property. If I had to like tell you guys all the things that we've dealt with, I mean, you guys would be in disbelief how we overcame those challenges, and we still do. But we don't position this as an NFT project. We just say these are digital collectibles, and then here are physical goods and products. Eventually everything will point back to some sort of story, which is something that we're working on, and I'm very excited about.
Nat, go ahead. Please jump in.
Yeah, so before we end the space, I mean, that's one thing I have to add to what Peter said about the NFT project of the Pudgy Penguins. But before that, I just remind you guys, if you guys come to Thailand, to Bangkok, we got you guys 3 months of co-working space in Bangkok. And just hold the Pudgy, and a little bit you get that. But because what Peter said before, so I'll go back a little bit when we're dealing with the True Digital Park and we're dealing with another co-working space. They have to ask us that, hey, we can't deal with NFT project. And I said, no, we sell toys. We have QIP. We make games. And yeah, we do a lot of things, but why? Because I said that if you do with any project, National Bank gonna come to us and ask, are you promoting the token? And we're gonna get fucked. So this is a pain, and I think it's the right way that I think we to say we're not an NFT project. And I mean, luckily that Pudgy has the real product. I say that you can go to Central, it's a mall in Thailand, and you see the toys and that Pudgy penguins. And that has nothing to do with NFT. You just buy with Thai baht and whatever. So I can't imagine what other project I can collab with the big Web2 brands because of this. And I think whatever Peter and you guys done is doing really good. So that make us super easy to work more with the Web2 brand right now. So if you come to Bangkok, we have this post, register at, and we give you a free co-working space. 3 months is at $500, man. Come and use it. Unlimited coffee and everything. And we get another deals that we are working on. So in November, StepCon in Bangkok, we are dealing with another co-working space 5 minutes from the DevCon location. Free co-working space for you guys again. And not just free, we decorate the whole freaking office with the Pudgy penguins. But anyway, we'll be announced soon. But yes, if you're gonna deal with make a partnership with Web2, take away the NFT project. Just do with the brand. All right, back to you, man.
Yeah, I love that, Nat. Love that. It's amazing. It's just amazing seeing what the Pudgy community is doing as a whole, not just in terms of, supporting what the main creators are doing, but also what you guys can do, because that's what I admire. Well, that's honestly what I admire the most of, the Pudgy community, that the community really tries to support the team, not just by, liking every tweet and retweeting everything that you say and, participating in the Web3 attention economy as much as they can, but also trying to expand the IP, beyond the eyes of the usual people in the Web3 ecosystems. That's just amazing, Nat. Thank you so much for sharing that. Peter, last 2 questions that I've got. We usually host these for an hour. It's been amazing having you. I don't want to, be the person that is pushing you for that alpha, even though some people might DM me and be like, are you going to ask for tokens or something? No. I love what you guys have been doing. Huge fans since the very beginning, like I said. But I guess 2 questions that I do have, the last 2 is, number 1 is, what did you feel when Pudgy's flipped Bored Apes? If you felt anything, I'm just wondering, because I think it was something truly amazing. Some of the best creators that I know in this space are apes. Some of my favorite space hosts are Bored Apes. So I'm just wondering, what you felt when that happened, and if you felt anything. And then my second question, and this would be just my last question, is what do you think the rest of the ecosystem could do to join this movement that, the Pudgies are starting, Luca is doing, that you are working on, in order to help remove that negative connotation that NFTs have, switching completely to digital collectibles? Do we have to change the narrative on crypto Twitter from NFTs to digital collectibles as a whole? What's that one thing? And I want to say one thing because, if we say too many things, people are not really going to pay attention. So what's that one thing that you would recommend us in general that maybe I could even share with my own ecosystem on, say, Modern as well, so that we can, help you guys in this movement as well?
Yeah, those are great questions. So in regards to flipping, to be honest, I have blinders on. I don't really pay attention to none of this stuff. It doesn't impact the way that I go about designing product. It doesn't go about, the way we go about executing content. It doesn't go about, how we go about our everyday business operations. I think what's happening in Web3 and the NFT trading activity, I think that is purely based on narrative. I think the more and more people are starting to fall in love with the Pudgy Penguins brand, they're starting to believe the things that we're saying. I think the narrative inevitably kind of changes, and some of the trading behaviors kind of reflect that. And so I think that's simply just what's happening. the more that we're championing the things that we're doing, the more, you're kind of seeing it on your timeline, and inevitably you might just jump on the wagon and just kind of go with us. But in none of this, we don't go and celebrate anything. There's nothing to celebrate. Like, what did we do? This doesn't help us on the revenue side of things. This doesn't do anything. It does lift community sentiment. It does bring more attention on the timeline, and that's awesome. I think the people who have been invested here since day one, or maybe have invested into the Pudgy Penguins ecosystem halfway, feel really excited by these things, and they should. This is the outcome of what happens when you're, showing up every single day, when you're, getting behind the initiatives, when you're actually taking the time out of your day to go out there and convince 5 of your friends to buy into Pudgy Penguins, right? Your normies, as we like to call them, right? Through buying toys and championing that on social. So we'll just keep doing this, not because we are doing it for some sort of agenda. That is just part of brand building, and we're just really excited to have a community that is buying into the narrative. So that honestly doesn't affect me. I think, it's great for the community. It's great for sentiment, and it gets people even more emotionally invested to galvanize behind what we're doing. But for me, it's, we're locked in. Like, the job's not finished. We have many, many years. We're super, super behind. I have, too much work to even look at NFT trading volume. On the what you could be doing for Pudgy Penguins, I can't ask more than what we're already asking of everybody in the space, right? And this is partially kind of alluding to the trading activity, right? Like, one, just try to get as many bad actors out of the space. I think this is why we have so much, so much kind of negative connotation floating around NFTs, because of these bad projects and bad actors. And I think time will tell if we can kind of slowly dwindle and kind of remove them from the space. For Pudgy Penguins, I think the core focus is like, how much staying power can we buy? And so the bigger that we build our tribes and our community, I think that allows us to kind of flourish over the next few decades. Especially as we're like building and shipping products. I think the participation and the caring of what we're doing, I think, is the most important thing, right? Like, what can we do? Instead of you asking what you guys could do for us, it's like, what can we do for you? So it's actually interesting for you to participate in the ecosystem. Which products should we be looking at, right? Like, which corners of the IP space should we be looking at to, really kind of progress the brand? And I think the community's already done a really good job of that. I can't ask anything more of. Speaking strictly for the abstract side of things, I would just say, just be patient. Just know that we're working on a really good plan and a really good strategy. Building something like this at an infrastructure level is very complicated. And, huge shout out to the Frame team, because I couldn't count on anybody better to do it. So I think just getting behind everything that we're doing, and sharing the feedback is really important for us too. Like, don't be afraid to be as critical as you can. Because then if nobody's critical and everybody's constantly gassing, us up, it's like, you guys are doing so great and you guys are killing it and you guys are doing so good. It's like, you kind of become desensitized and you think that you're like, oh shit, I'm like, we're the shit. You don't want to do that, because the most humbling experience is when you leave CT and you walk down the street and you ask somebody, hey, do you know about Pudgy Penguins? They're like, no. That's a humbling experience, man, because like getting out of, the Twitter spaces and, seeing the floor price and seeing the active community and maybe even getting away from Instagram. When you actually talk about Pudgy Penguins, it's like, man, the job that has to be done is like insane. Like, we're nowhere. We haven't even scratched the surface. And so I think Comic-Con is going to be, if I had to show something, I really want you guys to come to Comic-Con. If possible, if you guys are in San Diego, even if you guys didn't get any tickets, come to the pop-up experience that will be in the Gaslamp district. It's 3 days long. It's open from 11 to 6, for those 3 days. Curated some really good vibes, but, it's the feedback that we're going to be looking for. Like, I have a media team coming down to do kind of like a sizzle reel, right? After people have gone to the booth, after people have gone to the pop-up experience, just non-biased asking them as avid lovers of the, the IP space, and, they have their own characters that they love and support. And it's like, how did you feel about Pudgy Penguins? Like, what was the first impression? And instead of just saying like, oh, this was good, this was awesome, I need them to like tell me like, oh, like certain things were confusing. I didn't really understand what Pudgy Penguins was. Like, oh, but it's all nice aesthetically. It's nice, but like, what is it? And like, if I hear more of that, I think I know what the fundamental problem is. And it's just creating experiences that actually have some sort of story to tell. And I think that's one of the biggest feedback points that I'm looking for from Comic-Con. But just seeing the joy on people's faces, and also seeing people who are, avid followers on our Instagram page, like people who don't know about the NFT side of the business. Like, how many people are actually going to come to Comic-Con and make their way to the booth and say, I follow you guys on Instagram? That is the most gratifying feeling that I look forward to feeling, because like, I'm like, all right, it's working. Even if it's just 5 people that come there or 10 people, I'm hoping it's more than that. But even if it's like 10, 15, 20 people, I'm like, yes, like we're at least doing something right in a traditional world of, building a property like this. So, those are some of the asks. And, if you guys have the opportunity to come to Comic-Con, please do, tell your friends, even if you can't come down, have them check it out, give you their honest take, right? Tell you what they felt about it. And, feel free to share that in the Discord.
Love that, Peter. Really appreciate it. I'm going to go to Loki before I do the closing remarks. What's up, Loki?
Now that was awesome. But we're talking about. I mean, I've been invited here to FUD the apes. We are talking about Pudgy flipping apes. So of course you can never ask Peter about that. It's gonna give you a very polite answer. But bro, like, his answer to long the read is Pudgy is on another level. Like, they're not even competing with any brand in Web3. So they're competing with Hello Kitty. They're competing with this kind of brand, this kind of like traditional IP. So, and you could say like, bro, the people working on Yuga, like, are they humble? Have you ever heard this kind of words like Peter just say? Those guys printed like crazy millions. They never had the motivation. They never built their fucking brand. Their distribution was shilling, like celebrities shilling on their PFP. They try with the games, and I mean, they try really. Like, it didn't even look that they did. So yeah, you know.
Love that, Loki. Love that, Loki. I'm definitely going to have you up here again when I get an ape as a speaker. I'm so ready for that. It's going to be interesting. But closing remarks, guys. Just a few things that I wanted to say. First of all, huge shout out to the Pudgy Penguins community. Once again, you guys have no idea how much I'm thanking you guys for joining this space, how thankful I am. Loki, as I said since the very beginning, I've been your big fan, bro, since back in 2021, bro, 2022. I'm talking like you used to share these banger threads on how to grow an X. Nat is unfortunately gone. We're going to miss him. Pudgy Amateur just connected with you, bro. I'm going to DM you. Hopefully we can connect a bit more. You have one of the dopest Pudgy PFPs I've seen, honestly. And last few words for Peter, man. I'm pretty sure Modern is 100% getting that ticket to go to San Diego, to go to Comic-Con and, take that offer that you just shared. And, hopefully you do get some people approach you guys, because what you guys have been doing in social media, and this is something that I can share with you, from my very own experience. I'm in El Salvador. I can tell you that. It's Bitcoin Nation over here, first country to have Bitcoin as legal tender. So I have to deal with a bunch of Bitcoin maxis, and I'm not really surrounded by a big NFT community over here. But, since I'm into NFTs, I've been following, Pudgies, Azuki's on Instagram, and the content that you guys create, I share with anyone that I can. I share it with my sisters, to give you an example. And I have slowly seen how the growth of the account has been aligned with like the followers that I thought we're going to be following the account since the very beginning, which I'm just going to say it's mainly girls. They're cute. You do this like couples thing that I can share with my mom, that I can share with my girlfriend, that I could share with my girlfriend if I had one, that I can share with my sisters. My sisters can go ahead and share that with their boyfriends. It's amazing, and seeing how more and more people that I know who have no freaking clue about what NFTs are actually liking your content, sharing your content, because it's honestly gotten to the point where they're like sharing those reels on their stories, so that's just amazing. I just love that. That's just truly amazing. I don't know if these words mean anything to you, but hey, man, small country here, and I can see how people are slowly falling in love even more with the Pudgy Penguin. So these are just my last few words. Once again, thank you so much, Peter, for coming. Really appreciate it. Super kind, really nice since the very beginning. I don't know if there are any last words that you want to say. Otherwise, we can just call it a day.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys for having me on the space. It's awesome to come down and talk about the vision, and if there's anything ever that's unclear and anything that we can be doing better, like I'm super open to feedback. Whether it's good feedback or bad feedback, I have thick skin, so it's going to take a lot more than a few critical words to make me upset. So if there's anything that we can be doing better, let us know. I'm excited about our Instagram content, since you were speaking about it, because outside of just the sharing, which we've obviously kind of dialed in, the next part is like, that fandom, right? The true fandom, where it starts taking over people's lives, and, they really start caring about, making it part of their lifestyle. And I don't know how to crack that code, just yet all the way. I can only just, learn from some people who have done it historically and just keep trying until it works. I think Comic-Con is going to it's probably a breeding ground or of some sort that actually kind of promotes that behavior. So again, if you guys can come down to Comic-Con, send your friends, even people who don't follow Pudgy Penguins, just to come by, see the booth, and share their most honest feedback. I think that's the thing that matters the most, while we keep doing what we're doing and getting better by the day, and just create content that we feel like is needed out there. Otherwise, thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much. And just a quick shout out to everybody else who joined us as well in the space. Thank you so much as usual. Some of the members from the SAY community, Roy, Donald, really appreciate it. Our boss, David, down there looking at me. Hopefully I didn't mess up. And the Pudgy community that I can see. We got Steve, we got GM, we got Kate, McFly, 30 Rack, Wizard Song, Gomi Boat, Psalm. So many of you guys. Little Wenzy, so many names that I also cannot pronounce. But it's amazing having you guys once again. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Owen, I see you, Owen. What's up? Thank you so much for joining you guys. And that's all that I got. Let's go. Pudgy Penguin.